Oh, do I have a lot of white noise? Huh. Is that better? By white noise, do you mean static? All right. So I don't have a new setup per se. It's actually, I guess it's a slightly different setup. Basically, I have my microphone like right up against my face. Instead of having it, usually I have it like here-ish. With the goal of there being less white noise this way. So the opposite is happening. Hey Lulu, um, the volume is super low. Oh, that's weird. It went to 10. I thought I had it at 100. Is this better? I'm not sure why it was at 100. So I have my microphone super close to my face, so I'm not sure what this value should be. I had it at like 1600 before. I'm not sure if 100 is good enough. Okay. Not sure what would be causing that, to be honest. Let me see if I can hear what it sounds like, and maybe I'll know what it is. Oh. Alright, let me just see if I move this to like a value that's... I definitely hear what you're hearing. And there should be a sweet spot to where there's no background noise, but you can still hear me. Maybe like that. Testing. Think this is decent? What do you guys think of the audio now? There might be like a little something still. I'm not sure why I'm getting this though. I didn't change anything related to my mic, just the position. Do you use an amp for the mic? This I don't think so. This thingy is just a disc. It's a foam thingamabobber. I forget what they're called. Iris, there's only 4 parts in the GraphQL series because I'm only going to be going over the very basic concepts. And I'm going to kind of split up into chunks. So you can just learn, like, I'm going to be going over like the most important things that you're going to use in GraphQL and not all the features of GraphQL. Because you use, like, when I'm doing GraphQL, I use about 80% of it. But then there's a bunch of other stuff you can do with it that you don't do too often. So I'm going to be covering the 80% that you need. And then I'm also planning on, instead of doing a very long series, doing shorter kind of like parts. Are you using Apollo Client 2? Are you talking about in the GraphQL videos? Or are you talking about for this project? Not sure what commit I had not committed. Oh, I got rid of the name field. Oh, okay, I remember now. I am using Apollo Client 2 in CodePonder. Ever since I added Renovate, I've been getting straight spammed with notifications. I need to look up later if there's a way for me to, maybe I add it to the renovate.json where it doesn't spam me with stuff. Have I faced any issues with their cache? Is there anything in particular that you're referring to? I mean, there's one thing that I really wish that you could do with the cache. Like, I really wish I could, what's it called? Invalidate a single item in the cache. What? So this is a module from Saffron, which is my other project. I have no idea why it's showing up here. I wonder if I have both servers running. I kind of feel like I do. Let's turn off that. Turn off that. Oh, this might be from, I have this Chrome extension for Saffron. Okay, that's what it was. How are you tracking time? For what? Because I don't think I track time for anything. Or I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm planning on trying this guy out at some time, but I haven't started using it yet. Oh, you get weekly reports in it? That's kind of interesting. Have I tried Gatsby GS? I have tried Gatsby GS, and I quite like it. It was a little weird at first, but overall I liked it. So I need to start using FC instead of SFC because these things are no longer stateless. I actually think I don't even need to do a full component for this. What's the difference between using Next and Gatsby? How are they, what are the different use cases you're asking? Gatsby is really good for, we need some padding. Gatsby is really good for static sites. And actually, I have no idea what the padding on this is going to be. Gatsby is also not static, is not server-side rendered. So I would say like that's the biggest thing. Like Gatsby is static HTML pages that are created, whereas NextJS is server-side rendering. Does Gatsby come with more batteries included, and NextJS is more raw? I think you could say that because there's a lot more plugins with Gatsby that I feel like get you a lot further. So I think I would agree with that sentiment. You thought Gatsby is server-side rendered? No, but oh, here you go. There's a Reddit thread just for you. I mean, the thing that I was looking for, I didn't really find a good link about it, but basically, Gatsby is hydrated on the front end with React, I believe is what they call it. Why not use React instead of Gatsby for static pages? Because React is not static. Gatsby is how you make React static, I guess, or is one way you can do it. I mean, I guess take a look at this thread. This is going to answer your question probably best. And I think I'm going to do like a 0.3 rems there. Can you guys hear like kind of a fan blowing in the background now? Is it loud? Because there was one that just kind of started playing. The air conditioning is like a little bit loud. So I almost made this into a label, but I think it'll just be simpler as a div. I accidentally just killed the title. Didn't actually put text in it. Okay. And then as far as this thing goes, I think we could build that somewhere else. Let's do, guess a feature. Hey Francis. So I did not move, but I moved my desk a little bit. So I got a standing desk and the top is like a little bit longer. So I kind of just like rotated it in the room. And so now I have like a different back position. And I guess the other thing is different is I put my mic like right up against my face. So it's a little bit, with the goal of there being a little less static. How good are you at ping pong? I'm pretty decent because I used to play tennis a lot. So that skill kind of transferred over very well. Did I learn my ways at UTD? You know, I played a decent amount at UTD, but I can't say I didn't go to like the ping pong club or anything, so I didn't really play with any other players that were that great. So, you know, I didn't really get any better, I would say. So we're gonna add these things to like our form. It's gonna be our question form. Do you play ping pong yourself? Yeah, ping pong's just kind of a good skill to have as a software engineer. It comes up time to time. So I'm trying to see if with this debounce input that we have, if I can add my own element. Okay, perfect, I can. Forgot to export my component. I was like, why is it not picking up? A lot of startups have it in their hippie offices. Yeah, I mean, even the large companies usually have like a ping pong table or at least a foosball table or something. You remember Butterfly used to be one of the better brands? Yeah, that name sounds familiar. Did I read the discussion on Hacker News about monorepos? Actually, I did. that was really interesting. The everyone was like, "Hey, monorepos are actually useful," in the comments. Now the cool thing about style components is I can just switch this component to a text area, and I think that should, yeah, take effect. Nice. It's not really a save button on here. I guess I'll just add one like at the bottom here. My button not imported right now? No, it is. What does it complain about? Oh, what the heck? Do we have two components in the same thing? We do. We have question form and create question. Are we using create question anywhere? Yeah, we're using a couple places. Alright, I'm going to split this off into its own component in a little bit. This file is getting a little messy. Is it not liking my button? Nope, something else we broke. Not seeing any errors here. Just gonna go ahead and rebuild that maybe. Okay, so changes I made, I added styles, I added elements. Wonder if the as text area broke it. Plano West won state, I think 1 or 2 years ago when I was there. They were strong when you were there in high school. I have no idea what Plano West was around there because I didn't go to Plano West. I went to school in Austin for a year, and then I was homeschooled the rest of high school. And no one really mentioned it when I got to UTD, like how well that Plano West was doing. Hey, Panasar, it's going well. How's stuff going for you? I feel like I run into this error like pretty often. Wow, is that really just a NextJS restart necessary? Interesting. Let's do a label there and a label there. Actually, we don't have a title here. This is going to be line numbers. And that's going to be question. Yeah, I was homeschooled. I did like it. It was nice because you could pretty much pick which like electives you got to work on. You got to pick like what things you got to work on. So like for instance, I was able to like take a programming class, and that was like one of the first classes I took was like a MOOC online Java one, and like they just didn't offer that at the high school. So yeah, I switched same room, switched the tables, and like switched like the location in the room, so now you can see the ping pong table behind me. And yeah, it's a ping pong table. So now we just need like some general spacing. 9 on top, 17 on the sides. Let's do 1 and 2. I play ping pong? Yes, I do. How good are you? I'm pretty decent. I used to play tennis a lot, so it carried over pretty well. I'm just gonna create like a little thing that let's call it form row. And then I can just do styled.div here. So this is going to be a row. And this is going to be a row. Yeah, I'm down to play ping pong with anyone. How's this looking comparatively? It's pretty close. These might need to get spaced a little bit. 4 pixel at the bottom. You've been using GSalt lately? Oh, you're liking it? I mean, it was created by Pinterest, so I imagine it is pretty decent. These are 33 pixels. Say width 33. See what that looks like. Alright, we can add a dash between them. Do I have any experience with GraphQL with Golang or Rust? I do not. I've pretty much primarily done GraphQL in JavaScript/TypeScript. I am kind of interested at some point in getting a try though, because they do sound pretty interesting. I think I want to do an M dash. Yeah, they're just GraphQL started in JavaScript, at least I believe that's the first spec that got implemented. And so it just has the most backing right now of libraries and just like community in general. Oh, I broke it. So the question actually spans across the full width. Ooh, GQL Gen. Are you happy been coding your own CSS? I mean, it's pretty much the only way, right, if you want customization. It's not my favorite thing to do. And I'm not terribly great at it either. Let's try. This feels a little weird. Alright, so I'm seeing like the being able to move things in the text area with this little dot or slash here. Not sure how to do it though. It's not look like it's getting triggered. There we go. So it can have a, say, min height of 85. Awesome. So I need to add like this little line here. You rewrote the previous GraphQL TypeScript server with type GraphQL. Nice. How are you liking it so far? And did you run into any like problems doing it? So you're working on CI and you're running your own Jenkins server. You're doing it on DigitalOcean and Docker. Is it tricky to spin up? Are you trying to, did you just like SSH into the server and you're trying to spin up a Docker container? Happy New Year, happy 2019. What is Figma for? It is for mockups. Try to decide if I want to have another line here or not. See what it looks like first. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Can I not add margin left on it? That's a shame. Nice, that's kind of what I wanted. It's the button over here. I don't know what the heck this thing is. Alright, so there's something being displayed below the form. Oh yes, this. Just add some padding on the bottom. Chicken runs in its own Docker container on Doku setup with HTTPS or without HTTPS. Oh, I see. So you're trying to get Jenkins to get running in Doku. Oh, okay. So you like the validation with type GraphQL. I haven't actually tried that out. I'm planning on doing it with this project and haven't gotten to validation yet, but I'm interested to see how I like it. And I definitely agree that was kind of my first experience with type GraphQL. Is at first the syntax is a little weird, but then when you get used to it, it's actually pretty nice. And being able to just like reduce some of the stuff that you do is nice. Um, alrighty. So we have our little form, I guess, complete now. We'll have to figure out how that's working. You'd be happy to screen share a GitLab project CI/CD. That'd be pretty sweet. I'd be interested to see it at some point. And like try setting up for this project. What do I think of Cubes V? Is that a Kubernetes thing? I have no idea what Cubes V is. I've only done very little in Kubernetes. Is there anything else I want to do with this form while I'm touching stuff? Go ahead and commit it. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, I'm a fan of self-hosting as well. How does databases work with Rancher? Do they have any kind of like preference on how that's managed? Actually, we may be changing that at some point. So we'll just keep that for now. We'll add padding maybe somewhere else. Yeah, so I guess theoretically we can create code review now from any page. Can log out. I need to decide what I want to do on the sidebar at some point. Alright, I'm going to dig into why this is crashing. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not passing the function in. Or passing it as a prop. 40 services on a single DigitalOcean droplet. Dang. Yeah, K8s is what I've heard it referred to before as well. Okay, going up 1 level, going up 2 levels, going up 3 levels. Maybe I just have to recompile this. Oh, the DigitalOcean Kubernetes was buggy when you tried it. Can you set up a database with serverless? I always imagine you have to have it in like a separate server. There we go, now it's rendering. Oh, I see. I was wondering why this button looks so fat, and now I know. It's because the logo is making it fat. That's an easy fix though. Have I thought about getting sponsors for your channel for money? I've considered it. It's something that I may do at some point, but I also have like no interest in like getting into things that sponsors are dictating what I have to make or like what I have to say. And so that's like I would look for sponsorship deals that don't restrict me. Hey, Beepo. Are you writing CSS yourself? I am writing CSS myself, but I'm also using a CSS library per se, I guess you'd call it. I'm using Rebus. So this has like some very vanilla components, and then you can style it. Hey, Plateris. Oh man, I always do that. So I go to their website, and then I click on GitHub, and it takes me right back to GitHub. I should click on this. So like they have some vanilla components that you can use, and then style based on that. Same mic, but I have the mic right up in my face, hope with the goal of there being less static. And I'm in a new room. Well, I'm not in a new room, but I'm in a new position. So now you can see the ping pong table behind me. Also glitcher, I'm using styled components. So not directly a CSS library, but it helps you write CSS, kind of. All right, so I just put in the logo. Yeah, there is more white noise, and I have no idea why. Because it's the exact same microphone. The only difference is now it's really close to my face, whereas before it's not. The only thing I can think of is I messed up some OBS settings, so I'm going to have to go back and look at it and see if there's something. By the way, Ben, are you not using TSLint on the server or the website, or are you just ignoring the file and get ignored when you push to GitHub? Yeah, I'm actually not using TSLint right now. I may add it at some point, but haven't really needed it, to be honest. Like, there are a few nice things with TSLint. I go back and forth with needing TSLint. I've just been lazy and haven't added it to this project because I haven't felt inclined to do so, and I feel like it's not mandatory for me. Like ESLint with JavaScript, it felt mandatory. With TypeScript, I feel less required to add it. But sometimes I will add it, sometimes I won't. I kind of go back and forth. So I think I want to wait on replacing this particular thing with our styled one and let OneMin finish with it first before I replace his code. That way we don't have a messy merge conflict. Let me see what else I wanted to do. I haven't created the reply component yet. I think I'm gonna wait on that too. Thanks, Bert. Yeah, it's been slow and steady with Code Ponder. It's starting to like put some of the pieces together and starting to look more like a website and less like a bunch of random components. Yes, I was gonna add Slate at some point. We may not even need that anymore. New Chrome extension, this thingy. Yeah, it's for fonts, and to be totally honest with you, it's pretty crappy. I'm actually just gonna uninstall it right now that you reminded me. I was like planning on removing this. It's called What Font, but it's just kind of meh for me when I was using it. I mean, one thing we can do is the cache update real quick. But I actually don't think I want to do a cache update. I think I'm going to say refetch queries. Where would this be? Let's get rid of this real quick. ask, can someone recommend some content about Express? What are you trying to do with Express? Are you going to create an API? Are you going to connect it to a database? Is there anything in particular? Check out the Horizon theme for VS Code. I'm pretty happy with the default dark theme for VS Code right now. I could see myself using this actually. It's kind of similar to what I currently have. So the one thing that I noticed that I really wanted in a theme, which that looked like it had, is text that's colorful. I like the text where it's like not white all over the place. You see how there's like no white text on my screen right now? I'm a fan of that. You have a question about the GitHub Kanban board. Never used it before, only Trello. Can you click on a card and have it open a new board for that card specifically? It feels like not to have a list of tasks. Honestly, I'm pretty new to this too, so I'm not sure if you can do that or not. The only thing I know of is like there's this little menu that you can do stuff with, and you can like access things. So I'm not sure if that's possible. So Lynn wants to connect. Oh, use the West Boss theme. That looked pretty sweet actually. I saw that one. I was like, that's a nice one. You want to connect to a database and create routes. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I think when I was first learning Express, I learned it through Free Code Camp. And I think they have some Express stuff in there. So I would recommend checking this out. Alright, so the variables that we pass to this are topics, limit, offset, and of course a query. Find code review post. Oh, Free Code Camp has React and Redux now? That's awesome. I haven't visited Free Code Camp in a while, so I bet they have had like a ton of switches to it. So the idea here is when I hit save. Oh, we got a bad response. That's fun. Oh, internal error. Nice. There we go. The documentation is hard for you? Are you talking about the documentation for React and Redux? Or are you talking about for like Express? I would agree though, the Express, if you're talking about Express documentation, I would say it's kind of just alright. I'm not a huge fan of their style for it. Alright, so let's add a new one. Yeah, there's the AC goes on and off, and it's very loud for some reason. I'm gonna have to figure out something about that. And so that's just what turned on. That's why it randomly got a lot louder. Okay, it looked like it worked. You can see it refetched it and we can find it there. Yeah, I'd agree with Bebo's sentiment. The only real Express docs I think I've used and enjoyed was their best practices section, but this is after I had already known Express. But this is a pretty nice like cheat sheet for when you want to bring Express into production. And I just kind of went down these things when I was doing Saffron. I'm using Express, and so I just added each one of these things before I released it. When you commit the code through VS Code like that, does it push it automatically to the server? No. Actually, I think I can just push it automatically though, or not push it automatically, but I think I can push it from here. Yep, looks like I can just do that. I'm just like so ingrained to come over here and say git push origin master that I've been doing that, but so I committed and I have to come over here if I want to do that. And I don't think there's anything else that I really want to add today. I think I'm just going to wait for OneMen to finish up what he's working on over here. I think with this. So when this is complete, I'll check and see where he is with it. Then we'll put some final touches on this thing. Using a turtle makes you feel cooler though. Yes. So there is the upside there. The fractal pattern. I've never heard of the fractal pattern. I see, so this is for folder structure. I'll have to read this later because I'm actually looking for the folder structure that I'm using right now is kind of loose. Like I kind of have a little bit of a structure, but I'm also kind of loose about it, and I kind of just like put stuff wherever sometimes, and I'm not strict about it. So I've been wanting to kind of like be better about that. And like right now we just have like flat components. And this really should be more of a nested thing. Maybe I'll fix that at some point. Yep, I am wearing an Amazon shirt. Just gonna shut this down. So a short stream today, but I think I'm going to finish coding for this for now. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go eat, guys. See you later, Francis. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. And I'll answer a few questions if you guys have any other questions. Latera says, normally there are two primitives to format the structure of objects by functionality. Objects. Do you mean verse? I think I usually that's kind of what I've been trying to do is split up by features. Chet says, "Hey Ben, have you had any experience with GraphQL modules? I'm going to try this out this weekend and basically have a worse. I was basically working on a worse version of it for your own use cases. Any opinions on it?" So we're actually using a part of GraphQL modules in this. So in my server, actually, am I? I think I got rid of it. I was used to using it, or I was using it before. I mean, I think I got rid of it. Yeah, I did get rid of it. Because I'm using type GraphQL right now, I don't know if it's really compatible, but I was using this particular module. This guy. So what it does is it merge. I was using Epoxy and Sonar, both of those. This is for loading GraphQL schemas, or not schemas, but your GraphQL files that are all over the place. And then you can do Epoxy to merge them together. So I was using those two. And I've used the core a little bit, but I haven't used it too much. But I like the idea of splitting up your GraphQL schema into modules. So I am a fan of like this sort of setup. So I definitely say worth giving it a try. And I think it's a nice product. Well, it's not a product, but a library. I think it's a nice library. But yeah, I'm not using it right now for this particular project. Ben, are you serious about building a software consultant company later in the future and not considering corporate at all? Yep, pretty much. Yeah, I'm more interested in doing that than joining corporate. Freedom is right. How would you go get clients? Well, one way to get clients is through my YouTube channel, is people find out about me through there, and also it kind of serves as two things, discovery, and then also like a portfolio as well. So like you can kind of see like the type of projects and the type of work that I already have been doing. Like for example, like people will contact me about GraphQL and React because I make a lot of videos about GraphQL and React. So like that's like one way that I get clients, and that works well for me because that's one like I have like put myself as an expert in that, and so like I think choosing this would be my preferred suggestion if you want to do a similar thing, is pick a medium that you like best, whether that's video and making YouTube videos, or you could pick a different platform too. Audio, like making your own podcast, or writing and start blogging and start putting yourself out as like an expert in that field, and then basically it helps build your reputation, and then you have clients coming to you. You can also start reaching out to other people as well, right? If you wanted to find clients. And I haven't really experimented with like the freelancing sites, so I can't really say how great those are. But personally, that's like building up your brand is like the preferred way for me to do that. Yeah, I found myself managing my own schemas and try to make it modular / plugin based, so you can just include, let's say, an auth module, and it hooks just says all the stuff together. Yep. So there's like one thing that I do really like about GraphQL modules. One of my favorite parts about it was I believe it was resolver composition. Yes, this is it. So like for example, you can create a module, so like and you can apply middleware to more than one module, or sorry, so you have GraphQL, you have this like GraphQL module that you create, and inside of it you're gonna have queries and mutations. And I guess you could do subscriptions as well. And you can basically apply middleware, so that's what these things are, to a group of mutations or a group of queries very easily with GraphQL modules, and that's like one of my favorite parts about it. No $1 million product in mind. I mean, I'm also working on the side with my Saffron, so this is kind of like my product that I've been working on. We'll see if it becomes a $1 million product. I mean, we're also working on Code Ponder, right? So either one of those could be that $1 million product. Thanks, Pollux. Appreciate that. I was glad I could help you out. You can't imagine what I'll know by 25. Monetizing my Saffron would be interesting. Sponsorship / how-to guides / videos. So one thing that I'm thinking about. So originally when I was doing it, I was like gonna go for the monthly subscription and do that for something. So like the idea with my Saffron is it's for cooks and it's for people that basically want to store the recipes, organize it, and basically you can get some optimization out of your cooking. So we thought basically selling this directly to cooks was the best idea. But a direction we're kind of moving to, which I think will work out better and will monetize it better, is it's a very nice platform to sell cookbooks. So let me show you what I mean by that. So actually, let's not do this one. So for example, let's do this one. What we're thinking is ebooks are kind of a crappy experience to get cookbooks. So the idea is instead of buying an ebook, you'd buy like a Saffron book. And so this is what it would look like. You have a cookbook. You can pick your sections. You can click through the recipes, and then it's just a nicer experience to actually go through the cookbook. And then you can also access this on, say, your phone and stuff. And then the next thing on top of this is, now that you have it in a digital form like this, it can do so many things an ebook can't. So for example, we can search. And so like for example, I want to find all the recipes that include sweet potato, right? And then we can get all the sweet potato recipes from that particular cookbook. And then the next thing on top of that that we just recently added is, for example, grocery lists. So for example, I want to make this recipe now. So now I can pick the ingredients that I want. Oh, I already have these 3. Let's add this to my grocery list, and I can go shopping. So the idea is, for cookbook, for like we're thinking about not going after, but talking to food bloggers and have food bloggers create cookbooks, and then basically have like kind of create a marketplace for selling cookbooks is the idea. This is like the direction we're thinking about going next. You should consider doing paid tutorials. You heard it pays pretty well. That was one thing I thought about at one point. Haven't totally decided. I'm never gonna do them. But right now I prefer putting like my content out for free. And I believe like I get better exposure that way and discovery that way, and that's what I prefer rather than making money through selling tutorials. Now, I may change that opinion someday, but as of right now, I don't have any plans of doing a paid or like selling on Udemy or anything. I prefer just making them for YouTube. How's the app going? How many users do you have already? I have actually no idea how many users we have right now. I think the last time I checked was maybe like 75 or something. Um, but we haven't marketed it at all yet. Um, and that's we basically we're with this new direction that we're going with it. It is something like we wanted to wait to market it until we really decided how we wanted to approach things. So we haven't really marketed it yet. Um, have you thought about combining it with a multi-step cooking timer and countdown would be a great tool? Yes, and then like other things is like integrating it with say Google Home and Alexa, so you can just say, "Hey Alexa, I would like to cook this or whatever." They have something similar from that for all recipes, and so doing something where you can do like your own recipes with that or something. Yes, exactly. So this would be a way to kind of like self-publish. You don't have to go through a publisher. Oh, that's awesome, Chut. Yeah, that's exactly kind of like why we wanted to create it was to digitalize collections of recipes. Because once you have it digital, you can do a lot of fun stuff with it, and you get some nice features from doing that. And you can access it from a lot of different places as well. Uh, Beepo, we're just talking about one direction that I was going about with Saffron. I'm just wrapping up the stream and answering some questions. Have I ever worked with embedded systems? No, and I'm not a huge fan of hardware, so I've kind of like stayed away from that. You can also have the people that sell their cookbook give help to people. Uh, yes, exactly. So like, and then with the marketplace, the idea is we would take a percentage of like what the cookbook person could sell a cookbook, and then we would take like a percent of it for supplying the marketplace and supplying this platform. And so like take some percent of it, and then they would be making money through this. It'd be like them selling a book, an alternative. How hard was it to launch Saffron, registering taxes and stuff like that? It was actually pretty hard to like put the final polish on it. So that part was pretty hard. Registering and taxes and stuff hasn't been too difficult. Um, that's not too bad. Like for payments, we're using Stripe. Stripe handles stuff pretty easily. Um, and I actually don't know how hard the LLC was to set up because my mom set that up, so I can't say how hard that particular part was, but I don't think it was too painful. Yes, and then also the other thing is like food bloggers or people that want to sell cookbooks are going to attract cooks to the website. So we're going to get traffic that way as well. So it's a nice win-win. But yeah, that's kind of the what I'm trying to do with it next. Anyway, guys, I'm ready to go eat lunch. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. Thanks everyone for stopping by today.